Hey there. Do you love yourself unconditionally? Do you accept all of you, the good, the bad, and the ugly? Do you find that you try to separate yourself from those, the good, the bad, and the ugly, maybe the ugly parts? And we all have to learn to love every part of ourselves, right? See, the problem is that society paints an unrealistic picture of what and who we're supposed to be. Oftentimes, we'll find ourselves if we look on Facebook or Instagram and we just see all the pretty people and everybody looking all special. And sometimes it's hard to just look at all these pictures and not compare ourselves to other people. But the reality is that we want to learn to not compare ourselves to other people because we each have a sacred self. You are a beautiful, divine child of God. You are perfect, whole, and complete just the way you are. Did you know that? That's what we want to talk a little bit about today is self-love, being loving and unconditionally loving to ourselves, being loving and kind and unconditionally loving and accepting to ourselves. That's what it's all about. And that's such an important topic. And a lot of times I think it gets not talked about as well as it should be. So I'm Reverend Lisa, and I'm a spiritual life coach. And I am here to talk to you today about your inner dazzle. It's that innermost part of yourself that's loving and kind and accepting. It's that part of yourself that knows what to do, how to do, and when to do everything that we need to do in our lives to create a balanced, confident, and fulfilling life. So it's about learning how to listen and tap in to that divine self, that inner self that knows how to be loving, that knows how to be unconditional in the way that we think and act and talk to ourselves. So that's what I'm here today to do, is to help you connect to that inner dazzle, that inner part of you that knows all these wonderful qualities about yourself. So I have a poem, a little reading that I want to share with you, and it's about loving yourself. And I think it's really a great, great, great little reading. So look at this, you guys. Love yourself a little extra right now. You're learning, you're healing, you're growing, and discovering yourself all at once. It's about to get magical for you. Oh my gosh, that is just so great. I love it. I thought that was such a great reading. And thank you, Gina. She found that one. So that's what it's about. We love ourselves unconditionally. Were we born and raised to think that way? I think oftentimes not. I don't think it's something that we're naturally taught. Maybe in our upbringing is to be loving and unconditionally kind to ourselves, is to just be able to accept all the parts of ourselves. So we have one more little reading that I wanted to share with you. I think it's going to come up here. And says right here, if you wouldn't say it to a friend, don't say it to yourself. Oh my goodness, how powerful is that? If we think about the way that we talk to ourselves and how we treat ourselves, that's what counts. And that's why this is such an important topic. And that's what we're here to focus with you today, is talking about being unconditionally loving and kind to ourselves. And then as we're loving and kind to ourselves, of course, then we can be more loving and kind to others. And of course, especially us as women and moms, we have to be that way, because as we do this for ourselves, not only does it nurture our soul, our soul self, our sacred self, but it also then we can set a role model for all of our friends and family in the world and anything that we're out doing in the world. It's just such a great way to express ourselves and be kind and loving to ourselves as individuals. As women, that's definitely where we want to focus in on today. So I want to let you know that we have a special surprise guest with us today. I'm so excited to have her here with me, and I definitely want to invite her in. It's my dear friend and colleague, Gina, and she does a wonderful Joy is in the Journey. Her program is on Thursdays on New Thought Media Network in the afternoon at 3 o'clock, I believe. Yep. And I'm so grateful to have her here with me today. We're so blessed, and we are here to talk with you all about your sacred self. So listen up, because we got some great stuff for you guys today. So, Miss Gina, welcome. Yay. Thank you
It's
so much for
wonderful.
being here. I'm so
It's
glad to have you.
wonderful to be here with you.
It's
You
so
know,
great
you
to
were
have
talking about unconditional love, and I was telling you that I had a workshop, and you're like, yeah, come on and talk
you. So
about it, because
perfect.
it's so important that we say the things out loud that we've repeated to ourselves. So in other words, this negative self-talk, when we hear out loud that that's not how to live, that other people do it too, that we acknowledge that there's this stuff that goes on that is not serving us.
Right.
And it's saying it out loud so that people can say, yeah, I do that too, and no, it doesn't serve me, and what do I do instead?
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to, if it's okay with you, share a
Yeah.
poem that I had written called
Yes.
Draw a Picture.
Listen up. This is a beautiful poem. Listen up.
I was raised to be a good girl, to take care of others and shown how to act. As a small child, I was taught to do this, but definitely not that. I drew pictures of my world,
Oops.
sometimes blue skies, others gray. I drew to show you what I could see, what it was like to be me.
Mm,
As I grew older, my views changed. People were cruel. The world seemed to have changed. People stopped asking me my point of view. I lived, I did, with my choices, showing them who I became. I realize now I've drawn my life. My relationships are how I saw people. My career from all that I have done. I painted without conscious thought. I created my life from what I was taught.
mm,
Finally, I recognize my power to create. All limits self inflicted in a picture to demonstrate. So today, I decide what I watch, think, and do. I finally realize that whatever I focus upon will inevitably become my view.
mm. Wow. That's beautiful. Oh my
Isn't
goodness.
that our
Gina
process?
wrote that. Isn't that amazing, everybody? I'm just so impressed. That's
Thank
just
you.
beautiful. Beautiful,
But
beautiful.
isn't that the
Thank you.
process? Isn't that what it's all about? Is
Yeah.
coming to that place of understanding that, am I doing what other people are expecting or wanting, or am I doing what I choose?
Right.
And so often growing up, we didn't distinguish between the two.
Yeah, we weren't really taught it. It wasn't it wasn't like an aware thing. And not that, our parents didn't know, but it's just like you said, it's just one of those things that I think was just an unknown. And so then we assume and we take on these roles, especially as women, I think, to be the caregiver. And it just, it's like always putting other people first. And then when you mentioned toward the end about, how do we talk to ourselves, how are we speaking to ourselves, are we kind and loving, or or do we talk otherwise, and how's that affecting us every day in the way
And
that we
when
are.
you look in the mirror, how do you feel?
Right.
What is looking back at you? There are a lot of people, one of the practices that to me is sacred is affirmations. What do you
Yes.
declare? Louise Hay, I love Louise Hay. But
Yeah. Yeah.
You Can Heal Your Life really talks a lot about her affirmations. And,
Right.
if you can't look in the mirror and say kind things to yourself, I've had people that literally could not do it. I've had
Yeah.
others break down into tears that
Yes.
could not possibly say anything nice about themselves.
Hmm.
Then at that point, you know that there's some work to be done. And
Yes.
not work isn't hard, but honoring yourself. It's
Yes.
learning how to, befriend ourselves.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we need to be our best friend. We need to be the one on the cheering end, the encouraging, the encouraging end, so that we can, like you said, we can go out into the world and we're gonna just feel better. We're gonna express ourselves in a much better way out in the world, and even just at home to ourselves makes a big
And
difference.
I know for me, I don't know about you, but for me, I was raised that self-care was selfish. Taking
Yes.
time for myself. Oh,
Yeah.
putting
You don't
myself
have
first.
time.
Oh,
Yeah.
what's the matter with you?
Yeah.
And that, my mom was a gift in so many ways.
Of course.
And she also didn't have a life at some points because she was caretaking for my grandparents, where they got sick one and then the other. And
Oh,
she lost about 10 years in that. Literally no life of her own whatsoever. And
yeah,
while I honor her choices in some ways, in others, it didn't serve her or them.
right.
So it's not, and we also don't live in the world of our parents,
Mm-hmm. Right.
because
Different, different
her
worlds.
mother could do those things because she didn't work.
Yeah.
If you were home all day, you can take care of an elderly parent. If you're
Yes.
home all day, you can do. But if you're
Yes.
working a full-time job, how
Mm-hmm.
many, especially today, how many people are
Oh my gosh.
doing both? Raising
Yeah.
children, they're running a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's their own business and
Mm-hmm.
careers, and then it's trying to do everything else. Because I know that my mom didn't drive me to and from school.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't take me to all my different events.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't that constant pick up, drop off, all that kind of stuff. We were on
Yeah.
our own for the most part. It's
Wow.
a
Yeah.
different world today.
Definitely.
So are we honoring our path and our place in it? It's not
Mm-hmm.
about comparing to what someone else did. It's
Yeah.
simply saying, realistically, how many hours in a day and what am I doing to maintain my level of care? Because
Yeah.
when we fill our cup, we have something to give.
Exactly. That's the point. That's a good key point. And yeah, and I was talking with one of my friends the other day about it. And she's a younger mom. She's a millennial mom, and she has three littles, and working full time, and she's going to school. I'm like, oh, it's yeah. And I asked her that because she posted something on Facebook, and then I messaged her and I'm like, are you okay? And she's like, I just feel, just worn out and depleted. And she's like, and I said, well, call me. I said, I can help with the kids, or we can take them, we can figure something out to give you a little time for yourself. And she just feels like she doesn't have, she doesn't want to give herself permission. So that's the other pieces for me,
That's the
is
big
giving
thing.
yourself
Is
permission to
And
do
there's a
it.
beautiful song from Karen Drucker called "I Give Myself Permission."
Really? Oh
and
my gosh, yeah.
it's one of those things. It's only a half-hour show, so we really can't play
Yeah.
it, but I encourage people to really find Karen Drucker. I
Yeah,
give
she's great.
myself permission to
Okay.
be in that place, and it's to be all I can be. And
Mm-hmm.
then it's also, you have to reset yourself. We
Yeah,
have
give
to
yourself.
replenish so that we're giving, because I know for me, when I tried to do too much, I became one, resentful.
Yep.
And the other thing is, what
Mhm.
I gave was less of myself. Because
Yes.
there's a lot that I can do, but I can't do it all at once.
Right.
And then, okay, I've now given you all that I have. I'm resentful. I'm testy. I'm
Irritated. Yeah.
depleted.
Yep.
So so now what?
Now,
Because
right. What's
eventually,
left?
after giving like that, something's going to
Yeah.
give, and
Yeah.
what gives is our relationships and our health.
Totally. Yep. And that's a key factors. All this right now is exactly it. And I was talking with another of my good friends about it, and her thing was the concern for, her. She had learned through experience with the concern for her health, and had some big health issues. And now she says, you know what? She told me yesterday. She's like, I've decided that I am going to be selfish, being self-loving. It's not selfish.
It's
It's
self-care.
self-care, and then she said we really need to tweak that in our mind, and like you said, reset. And it's taking time to check in, and a lot of times what I'll do is check in the mirror, because it's right there, it's your reflections right there. And ask yourself, what do I need, what is happening right now, what do I need to do to take care of myself, and to begin to reset, and set some boundaries. A lot of times too, for me, it's been learning to set boundaries with people, and maybe say no when it's kind of uncomfortable. It's like, okay, maybe
When
I
you've never done
don't
it,
want to take that on. Maybe I need to just say no and take care of myself.
I would love to do this with you at
Hmm.
another time.
Right.
I'd love to go to that party with you, but
Hmm.
unfortunately, I already had plans. The
Yeah,
plans
and
were
you
with
made
me.
plans with yourself, right?
The plans were with me.
Yeah,
I would
my own
love
plans.
to, but unfortunately, and you just put that, we have to put, it's like we're in a bad relationship with ourselves. We would
Oh my
never
gosh.
treat others. We would never treat others the way we treat ourselves.
Oh,
We wouldn't say the things to others as we say to ourselves. We wouldn't expect the things from others that we expect from ourselves.
mm-hmm.
We have to be mindful. We would never
Yes.
say to our best friend at the end of a really long day, but can you just do this one thing too?
Yeah.
Would you just do one more thing for me? Can
Yeah.
you just do one more thing? We would never say that to someone we
No.
love.
Yeah, exactly.
And another point that is so important is it's to remember that we're teaching this to our children.
That's key, so key for me because, I have my 12, almost 13-year-old daughter, and it really makes me check in and say, wait a minute, because
And
they
they do
watch
as we
everything.
do,
They
not what we
watch
say. It's not do as I say, not what I do. It doesn't work that way.
exactly. That's
They
the old
do.
school. Yeah,
That's what they'd say, but it didn't work that way.
exactly.
It really never worked.
Hmm.
So it's really embodying that, that person that we want them to be. We have to be
Yes.
that. We have to model that for them. We have to show them that they need to be a priority
Yeah.
in their life. And we
Hmm.
try to teach them that in relationships,
Oh,
but
for
we
sure.
have to teach them that through our relationship.
Yeah, definitely. So key. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Because I think that, if we, and I say if, I'm like, if I would have learned, or if we would have learned that as a kid, or, I mean, things would be so different now. And I think that's why, like this new thought philosophy and everything that we learn about, and in being mindful, and, checking in with our spiritual self and our sacred self, and doing that inner work on ourselves is so key and important, because I feel like it just opens up a whole new aspect of yourself that you didn't even know maybe that you had. When coming from, when I grew up, we didn't, we didn't have any of that kind of stuff. We just got up and did our thing, and you just lived your life, and you just stay tough and keep going, and as an adult, it's like, oh, wow, I have to
My
rethink some stuff.
my question was, can I do that? If I could do it, I would do it.
Hmm.
Now it's a completely different mindset. And it took me, honestly, I couldn't fathom stopping. I couldn't fathom a life that wasn't chaos until I had over a dozen tumors in my kidneys.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
Both
gee.
kidneys, over a dozen, and they literally were talking about taking both
Oh,
because they were spread out throughout both of my kidneys. At the age
really?
of 30, what was I? No, I was 40. So at the
Wow.
age of 40,
Oh
I
my
had over a
goodness.
dozen tumors, and it was a question of whether or not they could save one. And they, by the grace of God, they saved both. And I
Oh,
sit before you with 80% of both kidneys, normal kidney functions, truly a miracle.
a
But it
miracle.
changed the path that it took. I mean,
Yeah.
there were significant issues with both surgeries, but I'm a miracle, and I know that. But I also know that they got there. See, kidneys are where we hold grief. On the
Oh,
Because there's Eastern
interesting.
medicine, that's where you hold your
Yes.
grief. Well, I had plenty of things that went on in my life, but I was taking care of everyone else. So, being that caretaker, I had to make sure that everyone else was okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it ended up that that's how it manifested in my body. I physically couldn't do for anyone. I also learned how to ask for help that way. I had
Right.
never asked people to do things for me ever. I didn't know
Mm,
how. It
yeah.
felt selfish to ask someone to do something for me that, well, I could do that. I could
Yep.
do that. I can, but I can't do them all at the same time.
I hear you.
So it's learning, because oftentimes it's as simple as asking.
Hmm. Right.
Just ask. I had a teenage daughter, and at the time, my husband and a teenage daughter. And when I looked at my life, I
Hmm.
never asked them to vacuum. I never asked them to do dinner. I
Yes.
never
Yes.
asked.
Yes.
And it
Yes.
wasn't that they wouldn't have.
Right.
It's that I never
It just
even thought
it's
to
what we did.
ask.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I hear you. I'm just Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing that. Oh my goodness. I can't believe that,
And
you
we
go
think
through
we're
such a
serving
challenging time.
people by spoiling them.
Right.
We
And
think
that,
we're
and I done that
showing
with,
love.
yeah,
First of all, we're not showing love to ourselves. And second of all, we're not showing love to them either. Because that
exactly.
teenage daughter at 17 years old put a pizza box in the oven, the frozen pizza box. And well, you put it in the microwave.
Yeah.
She would set the house on fire because she
Oh
didn't know
my
how to,
God.
because I was trying to overcompensate because as a child I took care of everything. I
Yep.
cooked at young ages and I didn't want her to have to. So she
Hmm.
never learned how to.
Oh my
The
goodness.
irony is she went on to manage and be a DM for Domino's. You know,
Oh,
she was
wow.
at 17 almost burned the
That's a
house
great
down, but
story. Oh my gosh. That's great. What a
I
great
wasn't
story.
serving her by not teaching her how.
Yes, yes, yes. And I also learned the same thing, same similar things that now I'm much more conscious about with my daughter. It's like, hey, you know what? I can and I am delegating some things out, right? And now she knows how to, she can make macaroni and cheese. She knows how to put a pizza in the oven, even though she still doesn't like, she pulls the oven down and she's like, Mom, I need you to put the pizza in. But she knows how, she gets nervous of putting her hands in. But yeah, it's the same thing. And I thought, gosh, I can't, she can vacuum. Oh my gosh. And the good news is when they learn these things, we delegate them out, they become more self-efficient. They feel better about themselves. That's the awesome thing.
And
It's
we were
about
raised doing it.
reciprocity.
That's the irony is we were raised doing these things, yet we are not teaching our children to do it.
Exactly.
So it's overcompensating, because it's not enough. That
Hmm.
feeling, that mentality, and when we have that mentality of not enough, that's when our life shows up as lack. That's when
Hmm.
people walk all over us. That's when the
Yeah.
picture doesn't look like I want it to, and I wonder
Hmm.
why it doesn't. When the
Yeah.
truth is, I am the one attracting and creating the life that I'm choosing. So what
Hmm.
do I choose? What
Yeah.
do
And
I choose? And that's what we manifest, is what we choose to live.
yes. And that's a question for everybody out there that's watching. That's it's about creating that awareness, and that's what we talk about in New Thought, is creating a mindful way of being, a mindful living, where you create that awareness of how are we talking to ourselves. It starts with us, and then that spreads out into our family and our friends. And yes, most definitely. Let's see who's here. Diego. Hi, Diego. Good to see you. Keep shining. Yes, yes, we are shining the dazzle. And thank you. Anyone, you're welcome to make comments. We love hearing from you. Let us know what you think and how are you being more self-loving? Give us some examples of what self-love means to you. We love
And
hearing from you.
what are some for you? What are some of the things that you do for self love? How do you take care of you?
Yeah. So yeah, one that is just simple, but I love to, like, if I'm feeling stressed, I actually go out on my patio here and I love sitting in the sun. I don't know. For me it's a recharge, and not for too long, but I'll just sit out there for 20, 30 minutes, and I just take time. I'm learning over time to slow down and just be present. So that's been a big lesson for me, is to learning how to slow down, take some time to do something that nurtures me, as simple as it is the sun, taking a walk in the mornings, or like a lot of times I fit it in at lunch, because it just makes me feel better.
Yeah.
I just feel better. Simple things. Just, so I invite you to think about what works for you, and what works for you, Gina. What are some ways that you self?
Well, I mean, for me, I love, I I love anything sacred. I love ceremony. I love, as far as like all of our teachings. I love classes. I really do. It's so important for me to have our that those spiritual tools,
Mm-hmm.
because that
Oh,
keeps
yes.
me grounded, because I
Yeah.
can be out there right now. There's a lot going on in life, and
Yes.
while it may be wonderful,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a lot of balls in the air and life moves fast. And if I don't remain grounded, I'm useless to anyone,
Mm-hmm.
especially myself.
Yes.
So it's learning how to take that breath. And the most important thing we can do is, when we're in that place, have someone that we can call and claim it.
Mm.
Because saying it out loud releases the pressure like a steam pipe would.
Yes.
When you turn
Gosh,
that
that's great.
valve,
Yeah.
you know, the
Okay. That.
the steam comes out, and then you can lift the top.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
that's it's releasing the tension. Even just talking to someone,
Oh,
journaling about it,
journaling's great.
treating
Yes.
treating is wonderful, or asking someone to treat for you.
Prayer.
I called two
Prayer is
friends,
great.
and I asked for them Reiki because I
Oh,
needed that
nice.
positive energy this week.
Yeah.
I
It's
had,
like bring me the energy.
so there's ask for what you need, which is
Yes. So important. Okay. What is Diego's? I'm noticing lately gardening has entered my daily practice. I love it. Great example. See, it's just discovering what, and that's what it is for me is that I've learned, I'm like, okay, what really nurtures my soul or what, what feels good? What feeds me? And yes, it's spiritual practices for sure. I'm learning and committing to every day, even if it's 5 minutes a day, taking time to meditate or just be still. And like you said, journaling, the class, and of course, New Thought Media Network here. We have tons of beautiful classes. Gina has a beautiful program that she has on Thursdays about joy, living in joy. Gosh, we have prayer in the morning, at night. We have journaling. We have, gosh, lots of music, different music programs. So there's lots of wonderful ways to nurture yourself. Definitely here on New Thought Media Network. I'm so grateful that we're here, and that we get to experience it.
here. Just look back at go to our feed, go to the wall, and just see all the different
Yes.
shows and the different amazing topics. And I wanted to share with you because this is how we started even on this conversation. This is my
Yes.
workshop this weekend, honoring
Yes.
my
Yes.
sacred self, who and whose I am, and how to treat me, which is
Yes.
how we're talking about, exactly what we're talking about on the show. Do you recognize the sacred in your eyes?
Oh my
Are
gosh,
you
that's so great.
are you honoring your mind, body, and soul?
Mm,
Are you
wow.
answering your soul's call? I had somebody this morning say to me, that they wanted to do such and such, but they really had been feeling a lack of energy. And I said, oftentimes I feel that, I
Mhm.
experience that when I'm not living on my path. Because the
Ooh,
things
that's
that
right.
I love invigorate me, but the
Brings
things
you
that I have
energy.
to do can
Yeah.
sap that out of me. So, what
Yes.
are you spending your time on makes a big difference with what your energy level can be.
Yeah.
It's so important that we, like I said, those questions really are.
This is
Do you
great.
do you honor your mind, body, and soul? Think how much time we spend, especially as women, doing our hair, having makeup, having the right clothes.
Yeah.
We work on the outside. Are we spending even more time on the inside?
Yes. Yes. And it's Eastern, right? Are those times Eastern? We have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Absolutely, it is.
Yeah,
It
let's
is
see it.
Eastern.
Show it again.
It is. If you're interested, reach out to me. It's Gina, Gina, at believeInYouToday.com. Again,
Ooh,
it's
yeah.
Gina, Gina, at believeInyouToday.com. Or my
Mm.
number is 401 580 5800. I always
Mm.
tell people take a screenshot. It's the easiest way. And it's available via Zoom or in person if you're in the Boston area. So you can just
Ooh,
reach out
nice.
to me and let me know if you're interested in that. And that's this weekend. But there's
Yes.
so many things out there that you can find for yourself. Look
Right.
into your local wellness centers.
Yeah. Yep. That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
I know I'm rambling. We're going on and on.
I
I
know. I'm like, we have
apologize
so
for
much
that.
good stuff. We keep going. So, also for me as well, reach out. Know that you're not alone. We are here to support you. We're here to love you. Connect with me on Facebook on my Inner Dazzle page, facebook.com spiritual resource. You can send me a message there. You can also email me, Lisa at innerdazzle.com. Send me a message and we can definitely connect and do some spiritual work. I'm here to listen and I'm here to support you. Also join. This is so great. You guys need to subscribe. Go to YouTube, Inner Dazzle LLC, and I have lots of 1 minute pause there. We have our shows are on here, and then also go to while you're in there in the YouTube, go to New Thought Media, New Thought Media Network. and subscribe there as well. And you'll get all of our wonderful videos and all the great tools and techniques are shown there in so many different ways. And definitely, so donate, send us your tithes and your gifts. We so gratefully appreciate that. And if you're inspired today, I invite you to send to my personal ministry on my Venmo. You can go to Rev Lisa 1 and donate there. I'm so grateful and appreciate your support of my ministry. That helps keeps us growing and moving forward. And definitely that's what it's all about. That's what we're here to do, is to shine and share our love. And thank you for joining us today.
There
We're
is
so
light
grateful
in
to have you.
everyone's eyes. We see it in other people. We
Yes.
see it all the time. To me, people that are shining are spiritually connected.
Yep.
Now, spiritual isn't in those terms, but it definitely has to do with that connection to something bigger than us, whether it's nature, whether it's life itself. There's
Yes.
some joy coming out in that shine.
Mhm.
Are you shining? And if not,
Help you get
find
there.
someone that can help you.
Yes.
You know, you get a couple of coaches right here. Find
Yes.
someone that's going to help you to have that dazzle again.
Inner Dazzle.
So, absolutely.
Yes, thank you. Today, I always like to say our time together is a celebration of your personal empowerment. And that's what we're here to do, is to encourage and support you on your path, on your spiritual path. Thank you so much for being here today. And we'll see you next week. And come and join us in at New Thought Media Network for all of our great shows. Check out Gina's show tomorrow. She'll be on at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard. Joy is in the journey. And thank you for being here today. And we'll let you go. Peace and blessings.
Blessings and love. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.